there are like numbers, not the numbers of blurs you can play with, but the ground, the motion blur is usually like you can change, you can set the angle of the blur, and the ground is more like horizontal way. So I would use motion blur with the horizontal angle, and you can change the distance of the blur. Just keep playing with some options you got, and enter to OK, and enter and hit OK to confirm. And now you need to subtract some area which is above the ground level. So here, use rectangular marker tool and then make sure the feather amount is 0, and select the area to which is above the ground level, and hit delete key to delete the area. Oh, it doesn't work. Yeah, delete. Because my feather amount is since I clicked the feather amount, my cursor is still active. Is still activated in the feather, so I need to click some other area. Click other function and then go back to the marker tool and then click delete key to delete that area. And then this area, since my elevation have 2 different ground level, so always follow the ground level of each side. For this one, you need to add to selection by defining the stair shape. So I selected the whole stairway and then hit delete key to delete. Now I got ground texture. If you don't like the brightness of the ground, you can always adjust the color or brightness using curve or brightness, whatever you please. So what I used was the adjustment tool, or layer adjustment tool. But also you can go to the image and then go to adjustment and then use curve. But it'll be easier for you to use curve adjustment layer for the background. So for the sky and the rest of the background, upper side of the ground, you can use skyscraper or sky. Just find, Google it, any types of background you'd like to add. But I will show you how to add some. The building is more harder than the sky, so I will show you how to add buildings for background, how to use buildings or skyscraper. Or just the buildings. Building. Houses? So when you select the background, always think about the perspective. So since we are in the elevation view, so when you select the background, try not to find some background that's showing some types of perspective. So for example, this one is more like seems more like flat rather than like perspective, but this one is kind of having an extreme perspective view, and like this or this, you should not select this one because you're facing toward the sky view, so this is not the right angle. When you select the background, you always think about the angle of the view and angle and the lighting as well when you select background. So since if your render is coming from lighting of the render is coming from the left upper side, when you select the background, you should select the same types of light source angle when you select the background. But this one, I think it would look okay for my elevation, so I will copy this image. And then go back to my Photoshop, and then create another layer above the background layer. Oh, but I need to place my ground finish above the skyline. And then paste it by clicking Ctrl V key. And Ctrl T. And then try to make it fit. And then if you find the right size, enter to confirm. What you need to do is to subtract the area, interior area. So I will rather use marker tool to subtract the background of the ceiling. But since if you have the window, you should leave the window as it is, because all the window you need to see through the background through the window. I might need to add some I might need to add some material in between this empty area. I will copy this portion now we have I have the foreground and the background and the view of the window. And I think that I need to change the opacity because it's currently too vivid. So I don't think the background should not disturb the real elevation, because the elevation is the thing I would like to show to the client or the other viewers. The background is not the thing I would like to show. Background is more like source, more like additional like spice that would be make the food more delicious. So but the main ingredient of this meal is the elevation. So try not to make a background interrupts the view of the elevation. So that is why I would rather use the sky, because it really does not interrupt the view. But sometimes the reason why I show the skyline is that sometimes you might need to add some background of the actual site when you render to make it more like realistic. So that is why I'm showed you how to find some material background for of using building. So I'll change the opacity, and now what I'm going to do is to add some glazing effect for the window, because currently we cannot tell there's a window or not. It's just the window is just coming. We can just see through the holes. So I would like to add some glazing effect, and I believe it won't take long time. It will be like 1 or 2 strokes will be done. So I need to use magic wand tool to select the inner side to select the window area. So when you use magic wand tool, you always go back to the layer 0, the line work layer, and then find the magic wand tool, and then select the area. It's really quick and easy using magic wand tool. Okay. Then create a new layer. Then move it to below the layer 0. So this I'll rename it to glazing. And I'm going to use brush tool. Size like 20 or 30. Let's see, let's start from 20. And then hardness like 70 to 80, because for glazing effect you don't need that, you don't need the much smooth edge for glazing effect. So I would increase the hardness to 80.
What do you have the size of?
The brush size?
Yeah.
Currently I'm having a 20 pixel, but I think it's too big, so I would rather use 10 pixel. And then you select the color for the glazing effect. So I would use a little bluish, a little light bluish color. A little bit of blue tint. And then click and shift. Oh, no. Uh-oh. What happened? What? Okay. Let's see. Okay. Click and shift. Click and hold the shift key and then click to draw, and then to make straight line. Click and shift key and then click. Click and shift key and then click. Click and shift key and then click. To draw several shade glazing. Two or three for each window would be sufficient.
How'd you get it to go on an angle again?
Click and shift key, click and hold shift key and then click. Click and hold the shift key and then click.
Oh, yeah.
Click first and then hold the shift key and then click.
Oh,
Didn't work?
yeah.